Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm with you, PG.
It's COVID-19 and we're all at home. I know you are at home in the US right now, and your city is almost also on lockdown, Dallas.
Yeah.
And Lagos is on lockdown. Many cities are on lockdown. Let me I just want to give you the first 5 minutes to give us an idea from a thought leader, a futurist, what is happening in our world right now? What's happening?
Yeah. So the reality is we are in a reset, pretty much. It's nothing new, right? What I've said again and again to so many people is the truth that new is a myth. New is old happening to new people, right?
Okay.
There is a spiritual intelligence that is necessary to keep the new tamed. And when we are out of that loop, basically, old things and old narratives hit the world like new. And if you are not careful, we just go with the energy of the new. So there's nothing happening that is not clear in the word of God or that is not, made, obvious in prophecy, right? The challenge is to be able to pinpoint it and to understand where we are in a big script. I've put it online that whether people like it or not, we are in a 2,000-year-old script, probably in the chapter before the last, so all of that are real. And Christians should not be unguarded or caught napping in this type of conversations. We should be aware. We should know what is going on. So we are in a new type of world, a new type of society. And I need to say this straight up. Post-COVID is not ahead of us. We are not weeks away from post-COVID. We are not months away from post-COVID. We are in post-COVID already. We are already there. And it's so important that we appreciate that fact because it's going to help us to be able to interpret our actions better, right? We are in post-COVID. And why do I say we are in post-COVID? It's very simple. Now, if somebody says, I didn't go to school because I was poor, my parents were poor, so I didn't go to school. For that to be true, then everybody poor should not go to school. Once we have one person who has gone to school in spite of his poor background, then the assertion that my not going to school because of poverty is out of the block. In the same way, once we have one country that says is out of lockdown and its economy is open for business and is interacting with the whole world, then we are already out of post-COVID. It doesn't matter who is still not out or who assumes that he's not out. So every 365 days, the world comes to a new year. When Nigeria is in a new year, America is not in a new year yet. That does not stop us from being in a new year. So we are in post-COVID already. The CEO of Adidas last week said their factory in China is working at 110% capacity. 110% capacity, meaning that they are supplying everything that's supposed to be happening is happening. So we should be straight. Now, what has also happened is that a new society has been born. There are some basic things about this new society, and it's going to express itself in 3 phases. There is a post-COVID that is on now, and it's going to be on through the lockdown all through like late 2020, early 2021. There is a second phase of post-COVID that will begin right from January, February, March, tops 2021, all the way to 2030. That is the decade from 2020 to 2030. That's the second phase of post-COVID. The final phase of post-COVID is from 2020, 2030 and above. Now, what we do in 2020 and what we do in this decade from 2020 to 2030 is going to be the game changer. I kid you not. We are coming into a new type of society. Some things will be clear post-COVID. I took some notes.
I know you want to talk about that, PK. But before you get into it, I just want to say something. You mentioned the fact that what we're dealing with right now, truth is that we're already in post-COVID. And as a part of post-COVID, that is 2020 towards the end. And then there's another part of post-COVID that is the entire decade of the 20s. And then post is later. It simply presupposes that there are some things that COVID has shaped, has turned around, that will be with us and live with us. And we have to adjust to and live with and adjust our perspective to. Can you attempt at outlining a few of those things? Just a few, because of the time that we have. A few of those things so that people can get an understanding of how COVID is happening to us, and we also have to happen to it by adjusting because, like I said, the literature of the future are the people who will not be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And this is another time, challenging time that is challenging us to unlearn. And to relearn. Right, go ahead.
I get that thoroughly. So we'll focus on that post-COVID that is between now and the end of the year, all the way to January. What type of world are we operating between now and January? First of all, it's a world that is going to have less and less of human contact. Now, that is significant. That is probably the loudest information from in this post-COVID era that we are in. The COVID of the phase 1 from now to January is one that is a direct arrest of human contact. So we are going to have to find our meaning, our purpose, our engagement without human contact. Now, that is significant because pre-COVID, all our lives was arrogantly tied to human contact on a daily basis. Human contact has now gone viral. So, for example, the jobs are now virtual. There are a lot of people that are not just on lockdown, but they are working from home, right? And businesses need to begin to ask questions that some people that have succumbed to the conversations about lockdown, to the extent that they are waiting for the unlocking so that they can get back to business. But I'm going to advise people everywhere that this is not going to go away overnight, particularly for people in third world economies, because a lot of what we do that will scale will depend on what is going on in the West and America. And those environments are not just going to open and return to business as usual. So a lot of skills have come online. And so people have to respect that and key into that. Some questions to ask immediately for me are not many. The first thing is, in a crisis like this, we need to ask, what is too much already? There must be a hand-holding of pre-COVID and this present post-COVID, and to ask ourselves, in an attempt to answer the question of what has changed, we need to go deeper by saying, what is too much? You know, what is too much? Do I have too many people doing something for me? Am I carrying too much weight? You know, what is too much in my personal life as well? You have to answer that question. That question cannot be answered for anyone. But some things are too much. Every time we move into a new season, we shed weight. Secondly, what is too little? What is too little? You know, do I need more education? Am I not properly skilled for the reality of what is on ground now? Do I need to acquire more education? Do I need more awareness? What is too much? That is, what is unnecessary? What is it that I have that I pride myself on for years that is not useful in this time? Remember, you are trying to give space for life without physical human contact. Without physical human contact. So how do you do that? You know, you want to audit what is too much, what is too little. You want to look at where is power today? Where is power now? What is powerful? What is powerful is virtual. Okay? So we want to look at how do I reproduce my entire life offline, online? How does that happen? Some industries already have been hit seriously, like the event management industry, like the aviation industry, like jobs are being hit seriously. But the assumption that we are perplexed because of jobs is not going to last. We are not perplexed. We are just finding new ways of connecting. So business leaders, for example, if you're a CEO, don't just cower in one corner. Begin to mail your clients and begin to talk to them. Fix a meeting and see what can happen. Begin to force your market to accept the new normal, right? I think those will be key. We are coming, I need to say this, PG. We are coming into a new system of government called technocracy. And what that pretty much means, yes, sir.
Yeah, you said technocracy. I said expansion.
Technocracy. We are coming into a new system of government called technocracy. Democracy, and this is for real. We are going to speak less and less of democracy as we move into the future. We are going to speak more and more of two words, borderlessness and technocracy. What is technocracy? Technocracy is a system of government, a system of economics, a system of politicking that is essentially driven by technology and technologists. Technology and technologists. We're going to need less and less of MBA degrees to be the qualifying point. We're going to need more and more of technologically aware, aligned skills. AI is going to take, front runner of conversation. So, for example, you can have your MBA, but hospitals are going to be run, banks are going to be run, not just people who know the business, but people who are technologically aware. The future now and the next 5, 10 years, 3 years, 1 year will be controlled by people who will use technology to drive what they do and will be technologists themselves. What does that mean? It means if you are a hospital, for example, you are not a hospital that is using technology to treat people. If you are an HR professional, you are not a HR professional using technology to reach people. If you are a church, you are not a church that is using technology to reach people. If you are whatever you do, if you are an event manager, you are not an event manager using technology to treat people. You are a technology organization treating people. You are a HR professional. You are a technological person that is doing HR. You are a technology organization that is healing people. You are first, the predominant, it has shifted from back door to front door. Whatever you are doing, tech is no longer the predominant, it has shifted from back door to front door. Whatever you are doing, tech is no longer what is enhancing what you are doing. No. What you are doing is technology, and it is picking its areas of focus. That is the most critical, most powerful reality about post-COVID, both in the immediate and in the future, PG.
Yeah, the truth is that the way technology has played its part in this COVID pandemic period, we can't agree less. That the truth is that as we go into the future, because technology is driving education right now, it's driving health. There's telemedicine where you can, a doctor can diagnose a patient that is not in the same city or the same country with him. The surgery can be carried out, through technology and stuff like that. So a lot of things, are going on right now. Now you are in the US, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, and we can have a 1-hour conference like this and have maybe hundreds of people. I can see maybe close to 600 eyes right now, so over 500 eyes there, and hundreds of people. And what we're saying here is not the real thing. There are many people 2 people can even be watching us right now. So literally, hundreds of people getting into a 1-hour conversation with us, driven by technology. Technology is driving everything. I can't agree less. Yeah, I can't agree less. So I wanted to expatiate on the second thing. You talk about
yes. I also want to say this, which is very, very important about borderlessness.
Borderlessness, yes.
Globalization has run its course. Globalization was an unfair system that favored countries that can move around the world without the limits of business. Third world nations until now have been the casualties of the force of globalization. However, borderlessness is the superior instrument that has empowered underdogs everywhere to come on stage. And the idea of borderlessness is to be able to function on one spot, attracting value or purchasing power from all over the world to where you are. I'm going to give a very crude example of that, but there is an organization that reigned for years and went ahead of everybody, applying borderlessness. Evil organization, but that is ISIS. ISIS did not have marketers. They didn't have business cards. They didn't have, physical neon signs and signposts all over the world. But they were recruiting people from all over the world. And there was no business development team that is talking to them. They didn't have handbills. They didn't have, all of the marketing instruments. But what they had was one, technology, but stronger than technology, they had an ideology. And I want to challenge everybody that where we are now, for example, some of my young friends have been online until now. And a lot of people were not online for many years. And I see a lot of rejoicing from those who were online before now to say, so everybody's coming online now. We are the ones online now. But you see, what they are missing is that while they were online all these years, there were some amazingly talented people offline who, for a lot of reasons, did not come online. Either they were too comfortable in their own offline experiences and offline power, or they were too naive, or whatever it was. Now, everybody now, by fault and default, have been forced to come online. That is not a testimonial for those who have been online before. That means that whatever you were doing online before now has more light because more talent, more skills, more ideas are now coming online. What that means is that whatever we are doing online, it cannot be here alone. There's one word that is the strength of borderlessness. It's called customer preference. Customer preference. Now, customer preference is superior to customer satisfaction. And I want to help everybody to understand this as you interact virtually, as you relate online. Now, the reason why some people refuse to go cashless for so many years is because of preference. Because people know what to do, they know they should go online, but they just can't go because they prefer the ease of how they used to do things, right? Now, with COVID, everybody has now been forced to have a taste of life virtually, life remotely. Some on takeouts. I mean, we call it takeouts here. In Africa, we call it takeaway. When you go to restaurants, you just prefer to sit down, and takeaway is the secondary experience that you have. Your primary experience is to eat in. But now everyone is forced to do takeouts. Everybody is forced to do takeouts. So the people who had preferences that were strong before on sitting in the restaurants are now tasting the beauty, the time saving, and all of what it means to have takeouts. So people now prefer something else. Whatever we are trying to do, you are dealing with people's preferences, not just their satisfaction. So it's one thing for me to be satisfied, it's another thing for me to be managing the prejudice of my preference. So to force people out, we have to be ideological. We have to sell the things we believe in. These are the times where I told a friend yesterday in a leadership retreat that we had, I said, look, we are going to be on lockdown for at least you have 30 days to reinvent everything you are doing and to reassess your skills, your business model, whatever it is you are doing on the line of preferences. You are shifting from satisfying customers to meeting the preferences of customers. That's tough.
Yeah.
I hope, guys, I hope you can see that. So preferences is the new idea to manage for vendors, for hiring managers, for businesses, for product developers. It all comes down to preferences, and that's the strength of borderlessness. It's almost ideological in texture and experience. Yes, PG.
And just to buttress what you're saying before we move ahead, and that may trigger some thoughts in your heart. When you talk about preferences, not satisfaction, the COVID-19 had done something. It's kind of restricted people to certain preferences where they don't have a choice but to taste certain things, like you're saying about maybe purchasing online and doing stuff online. Now they're getting used to it. For us pastors, for instance, for churches, people are now watching service online. Even people who have never done online service are forced to it. So a lot more people, this may become their preference. And we have to be able to meet them where they are. And it reminds me of the story of Henry Ford, when he was about to create the Model T, or the first car that he created. You know, he said that if you ask people at that time, as the world was changing, and and the motor engine was about to be created, what do they want? They would tell you that they need a faster horse, because they did not know that there's a car. So they just wanted something that is faster. They know that their needs are changing. The whole place is getting more populated, and they want to be able to get there faster. You know, but he was able to interpret a faster horse, meaning that there's a need for an engine, there's a need to create a car. And I believe that part of what you are saying is that as we stay at home this time, we need those ideas, like a faster horse idea that is like a car, something that is not even, but it's going to become the preference or what people want. Right? Yeah.
For example, PG, the preferences is more locked because the technology now is a constant. Whether we all like it or not, we are online. So whether you like it or not, you must relate at that level. The higher rule is to now understand that the options, the bracket of options is now so expanded. I mean, if somebody was in a restaurant pre-COVID and it's not enjoying the taste, and the restaurant he really loves, right, is still 2 hours away, and for him to drive there, he will be forced to probably eat that food. But now he has been freed from that. He can now worship his preference. If he doesn't like it, it's just a bought him away. If somebody is in church on Sunday and he doesn't like what is going on, and he wants to come to Elevation, he will have loved to come to Elevation Church, but Elevation is, 2 hours drive from him, right? Now, all he has to do is press a button, and he's in Elevation Church immediately, So, preference has been empowered to the status of a small god. Preference is now the small god, is ruling, thinking, governing behavior. And the people who are going to create that horse, that new horse, must have preference on their table as the determinant factor in judging how they culture their product, how they design the experiences, the ease of assessing our value, how we throw out even for those trying to look for a job. PG, I have to say that this is very critical, what I want to say now.
Go ahead.
Pre-COVID, had two classes in the world. We call them the 1% and we call them the 99%. A lot of people think that they are not in the 1% because essentially they forget that to be in the 1%, you just need to earn $35,000 a year. Once you are earning $35,000 a year, you are in the 1%. That is how weak our world is. So anybody earning $35,000 a year is in the 1%. That is approximately, let's say, 15 million or thereabout a year. It's already in the 1%. Now, before, and everybody else is in the 99%. Pre-COVID, the 1% and the 99% were coexisting together, needing each other, exchanging value on equal terms and on balance of power, right? In the hunger society that we are going into, which is not 200 years away, it's just from now, it's going to begin to show by the end of the year, it's going to become big by early next year. We are going to have a collapse of that equation. The 99% are not going to coexist with the 1%. They are going to be dependent on the 1%. The guys out there, no matter what you do, whether you are a career person, a business person, you are whatever you do, an idea shepherd, whatever you do, you need to see how you will not be in the 99%. And I always tell people to go watch the movie Hunger Games so that they can see how the 99% function. Because the 1% is not going to coexist with the 99%. They are going to master, lead, and determine the experiences of the 99%. There is a company in the world today that is a perfect example of it. So I can tell you for free that small businesses are going to die. I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm not trying to be negative, but it is the end of small and medium businesses as we know it. There's going to be a new form of power, and it's monopolistic. A strong monopoly energy has been born in the earth, and businesses don't have a choice anymore but to be monopolies. Any idea, I'm sorry to say this, I wish I have a better word for it, but whether it's a church, whether it's a business, whether it's a non-profit or it's an individual person pushing his career, you cannot think competition. You cannot think competition. Once you think competition, you are going to be competing with small things, and there's no future in that. You have to think monopoly. How you can set your own prices, set your own experiences, and compel the world to come around it. Now, if you look at Amazon, Amazon is a template. The example of future government is China right now, which is a lot of freedom with a lot of control. Government all over the world are going to control a lot of things, right? But for businesses, for career people, for workers, it's going to be essentially the Amazon business model. If you see Amazon is doing so much, no competition, it's a pure monopoly, and a lot of small businesses are only able to find what to eat under the Amazon business model, right? Amazon, therefore, is controlling, it's not coexisting with those small businesses. The life of those small businesses are dependent on Amazon. That's not wrong. That's the future of ideas. That's the future of businesses. And so ideas have to be so compelling and so arresting that you pretty much there's a company in Nigeria I don't want to mention who is very smart and who is offering what some other businesses are making money from for free. Yeah. What some other businesses are making money from is offering it for free, and it's building business models, small business models around all of the vision and mission statement of so many people. It means what a whole company is calling a vision is a small unit or a strategic business unit of that business. What Amazon has done is that it has collapsed so many small businesses. So many small businesses are dead. So many medium businesses are dead. And those who are going to be alive were forced to come and exist under the business model of Amazon. Now, that is how businesses are going to be. That is how the 99% are going to be under the 1%. But it's going to be a choice. Each one must raise its game, because the key is what you have mentioned. How do we build that new horse? So each one of us Our business cannot be on sentiment. The era of my brother, help me buy now. My pastor, please now order for this thing. My uncle, can you help me? You cannot use emotional quotient, emotional sales to get people's attention anymore. Your ideas, your resume, your skills must be compelling. It's because of time. I'm not sure we have the time to go into future work and future skills, but I'm going to encourage everybody, PG, if you don't mind. I did a 4-hour expose on this subject. It's on my page. Guys can go and look at it and to understand it more and gain more insight. But quite frankly, we are now in a time where small business have to ever be innovative as before. From now on, every business must think like God, seeing the end from the beginning. You must not have a commitment to just make money. You want to be a monopoly. You want to be big. There's no room for small. Once you are small, you are going to be locked in the 99%. You will eat. You will have money to go out and come in, but you will never be able to expand at the speed of choice because all of your activity is tied to the business model of a bigger machine, if you get what I mean.
So, yeah, I get you, because some people were trying to complain that, oh, no, you can't kill small businesses. What PK is saying is not about killing small businesses, but that if your idea is not compelling, if your skill is not compelling, you will lose the power of choice. And then you have to come under the big business. Amazon has not killed all the businesses, just a top 10 chain. In the Amazon value proposition, the chain is very wide. And within that value chain, you have so many smaller businesses, small logistics, small printing company, small deals, authors, different people are selling all sorts of things who are plugged into that compelling idea that is more of a monster, that has systems and structures that are working under it. That's what it's talking about. Not everybody will get into the Amazon level, especially if your idea is not that compelling. Then you have to look for a small angle to get in. Obviously, PK will need maybe to do something else, maybe next week or whenever you have time and I have time, where we can talk more, especially for business people and small business owners, on what is the post-COVID thinking for business.
It's very important.
Small
it's very important, PG. It's very important we go into that area for another time, because this is not what we are doing. People who are saying, oh, you cannot kill small business. We are not the one killing it. We are talking about how the world is going to react to things and how innovators are thinking and compelling and shrinking, businesses. So if you don't get smart and understand preferences and how to position, right, and keep, because supply chain is going to get big. Supply chain is going to get big because there's going to be a lot of movement of ideas, of goods and services, but within a structure that probably will be controlled by some larger entities. And so if you don't find your room in that, I'm sorry, you're just going to drop out of the chain. You're just going to drop out of the chain.
So guys, I will encourage you to get on PK's website and go through that 1-hour exposition that he has there. And then we're going to definitely have to come around again to
that's what we should do, PG. That's what we should do.
Into what small business owners, have to pay attention to post-COVID. PK, as we go on the home run for the last, I think about 10 minutes that we have, maybe a little over 15 minutes that we have left. I want you to speak to the issue of how people should not allow the infrastructural deficit that we have in Nigeria. Some people are talking about, oh, how do we then want to compete? We don't have power as an electricity supply. Data is an issue in Nigeria when it comes to internet, and all those kind of things. How are we going to compete? How will we make sure that the fact that we're in the third world or whatever region of the world anybody may be joining us from now, that may be under-resourced, that is not going to hold us back from this borderlessness idea? That's what I wanted to speak to, because I think it's a mind thing.
Thank you, PG. First of all, the idea of infrastructural gaps is real, but you must also understand that we are not trying to create millionaires in Nigeria. We already have many. We are not trying to create billionaires in Nigeria. We already have billionaires. And all of these people at some point confronted these infrastructural challenges. But we have to accept that the world has gifted us with a new technology. That is why all of those who are attacking 5G, were, chronically ignorant, sorry to say, because you need 5G. I mean, you need 5G like yesterday. We need 6G as a matter of fact, like yesterday. It's so critical. But the advice I'm going to give to many of us, how have I done it? Because a lot of what I'm doing globally today were not things that I built after I started domiciling my business out of Nigeria. No. I built my relevance and my global network within the Nigerian space. And you must understand that you have a global village that is ready to respond to ideas. For example, whether you like it or not, the Nigerian naira is getting weaker on a daily basis. It's going to get weaker. It is no longer smart to continue to earn money in naira. It's just no longer smart. No matter what you are doing, you want to key into what has been provided and made stronger by COVID, which is access to the whole world online. Every time we are online, you have the whole of the computers in the world on one spot. And so you can share something from your corner in Mushin and somebody in Rio de Janeiro or in Silicon Valley or in Mombasa, Kenya, or in Bangalore, in India, is looking at that thing. It's now about how you can align with the algorithms. I call the algorithms breathing algorithms, because algorithms don't respect zeal. They don't respect determination. They respect alignment. You have to align. And you can put $1 billion on Facebook promoting. Nobody's going to see what you're doing because you are not aligned, with the algorithms that will make that happen. Because all of that are skills. Lead generation is an industry in the United States, for example. It's an industry. I know so many people in Nigeria, including myself, who are working with lead generators on LinkedIn, and all over the world. And so I want to say this, PG, the idea of internet challenges is overrated, man. It's overrated. You will be disturbed, but you will not be stopped. So you may need to try 3 times to get something right that somebody in London will get right only once, but you will get it done. So when I was in Nigeria, I created my own power supply. I had 24-hour power supply. I had it before I had diesel gen, I had small gen. And I gave myself, there's no time you come to my home or to my house that there's no electricity. We had electricity 24/7. I was my own local government. I supplied my own electricity. And so whatever the power company is able to give you, whether you like it or not, there's no rocket science that's going to take your responsibility away to rise up to your own destiny, because you cannot, if you want to be correct or you want to progress, those are 2 choices you have to make. If you want to be correct, you can say NEPA is stupid. You are correct, but that's not progressive. What is progressive is to say, NEPA is not getting it right. I know they'll give me only 2 hours per day. I have to cover for the remaining 8 hours. Also understand that the moment you are thinking global, when you don't have electricity, the whole world is not sleeping when you are sleeping. So you need to prime your economy. For example, I knew that I was working in the United States, the United Kingdom, I was working in South Africa, I was working in Kenya and in Ghana. And when I was doing those things, I had to look at those economies. And when they are awake, when America is awake, Nigeria is sleeping. When Nigeria is sleeping, America is awake. When Nigeria is sleeping, data is better, faster, right? Even cheaper. There are even free things available online. Almost every data company offers you free access in the night. But you see, in that night, it seems useless to you because your customers in Nigeria are sleeping, but customers in America are awake. So you want to use that free data to work in the night. So you need to build a business model. The moment you are dealing with the world, you have to build a business model that works at a time that transcends your 8 to 9 in Nigeria. Because your 8 to 9 in Nigeria, anyway, a lot of people are sleeping in the world when you are awake. So you want, when you are thinking of crossing the borderlines and embracing borderlessness and earning forex, you also want to think really to audit how much time you spend on your economy in Nigeria and how much time you now have to spend on your economies globally. But to say that it will stop you from doing what you have to do is a weak therapy that's going to keep you correct but keep you small. You have to transcend that and respect that God will not put your miracle beyond your reach. And God will not put your miracle in the hand of your adversary. There's no challenge. He has not created a path of escape. If you roll up your sleeves and come into the battleground, you will see enough capacity and enough value to plug into within the limits of what is available and reach out to the economies that need you. That's the way it works.
Wow, wow, wow. Guys, I thought by now you'll be clapping for PK. Clap now. I want to see those claps. I want to see those claps. Don't just give thumbs up. Clap. It's the clap I want. Somebody can't be dropping like this and then I just so clap, clap, clap. All right. So we're just like 5 minutes
awesome.
Down and before we wrap up. Well, I think it's almost like consensus that PK should come back. So
I'm back.
We'll let you know. We'll agree on the time, maybe next week, and PK will be back, and we'll focus more on small businesses and
yes, sir.
How small businesses should position and stuff like that. Now, PK,
great.
On our home run, the last 5 minutes, I want us to speak to the subject of faith and Christianity and church. Again, without blowing our head, what are the things that you are saying from a futurist and thought leader's point of view about post-COVID and the church? So you do that in 4 to 5 minutes, because anytime from now,
in 5 minutes, I'm going to say,
wherever they cut us off, we have shared the grace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go on.
So in 5 minutes, I would say COVID has placed a demand on churches to make technology front door, not back door. Technology is now what we do. It's not what we use to do what we do. Technology is now what we do, and what we used to do is now the recipient of our technological alignment. Also, we need to move beyond that and recognize that we have to connect with two things: product development, and we have to connect with partnership. Partnership is what is going to reduce our dependence on, the limits of tithes and offering. And the whole world is more keyed and aligned with giving across board online. And that gives us forex, of course, but most importantly, that also allows us to make impact beyond the limits of our borders. And so church leadership has to think seriously about product development, global universal standard product development and partnerships, right? But for the people in the church, it's also a call for us to go inside and to recognize where we benefit from. I want to challenge everybody to begin to key in. I want to celebrate Elevation Church for your responsiveness before COVID, in COVID, and post-COVID. You have shown so much quality, and I'm not trying to swell your head. I just celebrate you for your sound positioning pre-COVID and the ease at which you are moving in post-COVID because you've been prepared. I want to challenge everyone that is where we are now. We need to understand the signs of the times. We need to stay in God's word more than ever, and to understand that there is no demilitarized zone anymore. There's no demilitarized zone. This is a time to not hope that we are correct. It's a time to be sure that we are correct. PG, honestly, we need to have another session for faith realities post-COVID. That's another one. But in 5 minutes, I would say to the people, stay in the word, stay glued, and don't get casual. This is very important. What I'm noticing is that people are getting casual with the casuality of the online experience. When you go online to watch service on Sunday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, right? Have your bath, have your bath, shower, clean up, sit down, take it seriously, because there is a relationship between your visual experience and your inner experiences. You need to align the two. So wear the seriousness cap and plug into the two. I wish I have time to break that down. But actually, when you come with your track down and just sit down, you've not done your freshen ups and all of that, there's just a limit to how you will be able to connect with the energy of truth and clarity that is before you. So, church people, don't let us take it lightly, because there is a casuality that comes with virtual experiences that we should be careful of. Let's get serious and let's embrace what is happening now is the will of God. God did not create COVID, but God is using COVID to get us to where we need to be. It's because of time. I can explain to you why COVID has to be scriptural, right? It just has to be scriptural, right? And why Christians need to understand the signs of the times and how they need to align. Going online is a 10-year-old instruction for the church. We are not just going now because we want to. It's what we have to do. And thank God for churches like Tech that have been there. It's not what we have to do to respond to COVID. It's what we are supposed to have been doing long before COVID. And probably we will have arrested a new mass now if we were that prepared. But that's it. I'm sure we will have another time to blow that note. Thank you.
So, guys, we're going to come your way. Vicky and I will be back sometime. When I have a discussion with him, maybe later today or tomorrow, we'll agree on when we can be back and have more insightful discussions, both in the areas of faith and how things are going to shape out for us as Christians, and also in the areas of how small business owners and people that God is moving their heart right now to start something new who should position themselves post-COVID and even within this time. PK, it's been great having you join me on this Insta Live event. This is the best conference I've attended this year.
It's a honor, PK.
Outside of Exponential.
It's a honor.
Because
it's a honor. I celebrate you, man of God. I celebrate the grace of God upon your life. I honor you so much. It's a honor and a privilege to be here. I will never take it for granted. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, man of God. It's my pleasure. And thank you for the great work that you are doing. So, guys, let's engage the material. We're going to post this online on my YouTube page and all that, so you can listen. Some people have been asking, how can they get to listen to it again? Tomorrow evening at 5 p.m., I will be with my friend, Pastor Yemi Davids. I want you to join me. It's 5 p.m. I'm going to announce again when PK will be back, and we're going to do this 1 hour stretch again. Is loaded with information and with knowledge, and it's a privilege to have him speak to us. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Join me as I chat up with my friend Pastor Yemi Davids. I'm going to post the notice for that very soon. And like I said, we have PK's word that is going to be back. So we're running down to the last 25 seconds.
You have it. You have it. With all joy.
Notice 30 seconds. PK, thank you very much. Give our love to your son. And